Hello, everyone. I'm Sign1News anchor Martha Anger. Here's a quick look at the top trending stories making headlines today. If you post an interesting comment during this update, we may add it at the bottom of the screen. Russian forces are still relentlessly unleashing a lethal assault on Ukrainian cities. But now the U.S. State Department is learning U.S. citizens are being singled out and detained by Russian military. U.S. officials are resending a warning to Americans in Ukraine and Russia to get out immediately. Also, President Biden says there's signs that Russian President Vladimir Putin has closed himself off from his advisors and is punishing them for misinforming him about how poorly Russian forces are performing in Ukraine. In Thursday's broadcast, we told you how the U.S. plans to release millions of barrels of oil from its reserves to help with gas prices. Now, dozens of other countries are talking about doing that too. The International Energy Agency has 31 member countries, and U.S. officials say those countries are considering joining the U.S. in tapping into their oil reserves. In addition to that, the U.S. Department of Transportation announced that starting in 2026, vehicles will get more miles per gallon than older models. Of course, some new cars won't need gas at all because many automakers are transitioning toward electric vehicles. The family of Bruce Willis revealed he's suffering from a medical condition that's affecting his cognitive abilities, and he's taking a break from acting. The Die-Hard actor's daughter, Rumor, shared the news on Instagram, saying he was recently diagnosed with aphasia. What is aphasia? The Mayo Clinic says aphasia is the inability to communicate, difficulty using language to speak, read, write, or understand what people are saying. It's caused by a stroke, head injury, a brain tumor, or a disease. Health experts say if aphasia happens suddenly, like after a stroke or brain injury, patients tend to respond well to speech and language therapy. But the other progressive type of aphasia causes a gradual deterioration of brain tissue. And there's no cure and no medication for that. Bruce Willis's family did not specify which form of aphasia he has. Take a look at this destruction. According to meteorologists, a tornado touched down just north of Panama City, killing 2 people, injuring 2 others, and destroying multiple homes. It's been a scary month for people around the country. The Storm Prediction Center says just in the month of March alone, there have been at least 214 tornadoes, the most on record since the 1950s. Usually, there are only about 80 tornadoes in March. Scientists say we're probably seeing more tornadoes earlier in the year because of climate change, as well as influences from La Niña. Americans who do not consider themselves male or female will soon have a new option on their passports. Starting April 11th, the U.S. State Department says citizens can use X as a gender marker. This is the first time a federal government agency has offered this sort of marker on an identity document. The TSA is becoming more inclusive as well. The screening process at airport checkpoints will be gender neutral. Gender identification will no longer be considered relevant for identification verification. But the traveler's name has to be the same on the ID and the ticket. For years, Apple and Samsung have faced mounting pressure from consumers, regulators, and even President Biden to remove the restrictions on fixing their products. Well, for the first time ever, owners of Galaxy devices will have access to genuine parts, repair tools, and visual step-by-step repair guides to repair their own smartphones. The DIY Phone Fix program also applies to third-party fix-it companies. If you're an iPhone user, you will have to wait. In November, Apple announced a similar plan, but it has not yet formally launched. Disney guests will be happy about this news. You will soon be able to hug your favorite characters again. Starting this month, Walt Disney World and Disneyland guests can get up close and personal autographs, photos, and hugs with Mickey and friends. COVID restrictions will be relaxed as early as April 18th for the traditional character interactions. And in California, Disneyland's famous parade is expected to start up the marching band again the week of April 22nd. Wow, think about it. Years from now, we will all look back on this era in history and remember a time when we couldn't even hug each other. That's amazing. It's been almost 2.5 years. Wow. Sign1News will be broadcasting updates Monday through Friday. Then this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, join us for a live discussion of two of the hottest topics this week. The slap, and you all know which slap we're talking about, and the passing of the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. We would love to hear your thoughts on these two controversial events. We will be sharing your thoughts live during the show. A big thank you to our Sign1News app supporters. You help make this broadcast happen. You can download the Sign1News app by heading to the App Store or Google Play Store on your smartphone, and you can also watch on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku.